Hey, good morning. Welcome back from our deep freeze. Sorry I couldn't be here today, but I will see you again on Monday. Until then, today we have a pretty hefty lesson, and we're going to start exploring one of the main things that we use fractions for. We break up inches, feet, things like that. So we break an inch into maybe quarter inches or half inches, and we're going to start exploring that today, as well as putting those on line plots to see how often certain things show up. So to get started, you should be on page 257. There's going to be a little bit of partner work. If you haven't gotten a ruler already, they are in the back. Please take good care of those. Those are Mrs. Krautkramer, so when you're finished, make sure they get towards or back to where you got it from so I can get them back to Mrs. Krautkramer. All right, so number one, so the first thing we're going to talk about is units of length. Your job here is going to be to loop length units and fractions of units to show the length of the line segment. Write the length. So a line segment is just a line from one spot to the next, so it doesn't continue on. So hopefully at some time you have heard that a line will maybe be drawn like this, and there will be an arrow here and an arrow here, meaning it keeps going on and on and on. A line segment has two spots that stop. So you can see the blue, green, red, those are line segments. They start at one point and they stop at another. They do not continue on. Okay? So for example, the one that they did for you here is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 whole inches there. So this is our mixed number. That's a whole number is 3. And then it is half of an inch there. It is also broken up into fourths. So I would write 3.5, but remember that is also equal to 2 fourths. Okay, so this would be 1/4, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths. Okay, but 2 fourths is equal to a half, so I would say that is 3.5 inches. All right, so our next one, you're going to loop on your own. So we've looped 1 whole inch. Remember, right here is where we're going to, is the end. We loop 2 whole inches, and we're not going to loop a whole 1/3 inch. So I know my whole number here is going to be 2. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 4. So 2 3 fourths is that one. Okay. All right, number 3 then. We do 1 whole inch. So we have 1 whole inch looped. But I don't have a second one. So it's going to be 1 as my whole number and then something else. So here it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of 4, and it stops at the 1. So 1 1/4 inches. Number 4, we have 1, 2 holes, 2 whole inches, and then 1 again out of 4. So 2 1/4 inches on that one. Next one, notice you start at 4. Start at 4. Okay. So here we have 1, 2, 3 on top of the 3 that we already have. Okay, so don't get confused. There is still the rest of the ruler. It's just broken off here, as you can see. So we assume that that is still there. Okay? Or excuse me, we don't assume that is still there. So don't get confused by that. It is just we have 1. It starts here and stops here. So we have 1, 2, 3 whole inches. And then it goes 1, 2, 3. So 3 fourths of an inch there. Okay. All right, on to 6. Why is this ruler wrong? So if you look at this ruler carefully, this is the big part right here. They are not equally divided. Okay, so here is 1 inch, and then this right here is like an inch. So, and then here is an inch compared to here is an inch. All right, so it is not divided equally. So that is why that ruler is wrong. Okay. All right, on to the next page. Now, estimate the length of each line segment. So remember, estimate just means how long do you think that is, and then measure to the nearest half inch. So what is the actual length? Now on your homework, along with these, if you do not have a ruler, you can make your own ruler by just folding over a piece of paper. And then here is an inch right here. You'll have that on your homework as well. So you can say that's 1 inch, move your paper over, mark another inch, and you can use that, just that straight edge on your paper as a ruler as well. Okay. All right, so if we measure this, I guess it's up to you what you estimate as. I'm not going to put an estimation down. But the actual, if you measure that correctly, it should be about 3.5 inches long. Okay. So number 8, again, I'm not going to tell you what an estimation is. So based however off what this actual one is, you can see that it's a little bit further, so I would assume your estimation would be a little bit more than 3.5 inches. The actual is 4 inches. Number 9, so this one is estimate the length of line segments in inches, then measure it to the nearest 1/4 of an inch. So this gets a little bit trickier. You have to measure it to the nearest 1/4 of an inch rather than 1/2 inch. Again, whatever your estimation is, you use this, knowing that this is 4, hopefully your estimation would be a little bit bigger than 4. But your actual is going to be 4 1/4 inches. Oops. All right, then I want you to do this next part with a partner. So you can pause it when you get to that point. But draw a line segment that has the given length. So underneath, you're just going to draw a line segment. So from here and measure 5 inches and stop. Measure 4.5 inches and stop. And then 4 3/4 inches. Okay. So measure those, and then I want you to switch with a partner and measure each other's and kind of check each other's work, see if you're in the right ballpark. Okay. And then the last one, draw a line segment that is between 1 1/4 and 3 3/4 inches long. Again, trade books with a partner and measure the line segment they drew. Okay, so you can just draw that right down there. It just has to be between 1 1/4 and 3 3/4 inches long. Okay. So check with a partner on that one, and then let's move on. All right, line plots. So a line plot shows frequency or how often something occurs. So it's kind of like a table, or not even kind of, it is a table. And it shows the frequency of data on a number line. So in science class, students measured the lengths of leaves in a leaf collection. They measured the lengths to the nearest 1/4 inch. The line plot shows the results. Okay, so we do this a lot just to see what is the most or maybe the least. If we measured everyone's height, we might be looking for maybe most kids in the class are about 4.5 feet tall, or most are about 5 feet tall. And the way that we do this is every time that measurement shows up, okay, so in this case, how many leaves have a length of 4.5 inches? We're going to look at 4.5 inches. And all they did was every time they measured a leaf that was 4.5 inches, they put a dot there. Okay, so they measured one that was 4.5, put a dot. Oop, this one's also 4.5, put a dot. Oop, now I measured one that's 4 inches, so I'm going to put a dot about 4 inches. Okay. So that's kind of how we create a line plot, which you're going to have to do a little bit later. So when we say how many leaves have a length of 4.5 inches, 1, 2, 3. How many leaves have a length that is less than 5 inches? So remember, it has to be less than 5, not right on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your answer should be 8. And then write a question that can be answered using the line plot. And so answers can vary there. Again, if you could check with a partner, make sure that your answer question makes sense. Okay. All right. Now, you're going to make a line plot of your own. This says use the box below to record the actual measure for the line segment that each classmate drew on page 258. I'm not going to have you do that because we're not doing this as a class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw or write some measurements in here, and then you're going to plot those on the line plot below here. Okay. So use the measurement data from the box above. So I'm going to put some measurements in here. And then I want you to put how often each of those occur. Okay? So for example, we're measuring just lines of yarn or maybe strings that we put out there. And I'm going to measure those. So my first one I measured 3.5, second one 1.5, then 2, and 1 1/4. Another one was 1 1/4, 3, 3.5, 4, 3.5, 1 1/4, 2, 3.5, 4, 2 3/4, 1 1/4, and 3.5. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and see how many times each of them shows up. So 3.5. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 times. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to find 3.5, and I'm going to make 5 dots there. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now I'm going to go find a different one. So 1.5. How many times does 1.5 show up? Just that one time. So I'm going to put 1 dot by 1.5. Now 2. How many times does 2 show up? Again, only once. So there's 2. 1 1/4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this one shows up 4 times. 1, 2, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. 3 shows up once. 4 shows up twice. So 1, 2. Oh, I missed a 2. Sorry. So we're going to add 1 to 2. And then 2 3/4 is our last one. So that's 1. So your line plot should look something like that. Okay. All right. Let's head on down. So how many of these line segments measured 2.5? Sorry about that. Shouldn't have taken that away, but I don't think any of them did actually. So if I remember correctly, we can go back in the video if you would like. But I'm pretty sure it was 0. Which length appeared the most often on the line plot? That one was 3.5. I do remember that. That was 5 times. Okay. All right. Then describe how to measure a line segment to the nearest 1/4 inch. So that is kind of up to you. Describe how you would do that. And then again, try and check with a partner. And that really should be all we have for today. So hopefully you are on your best behavior. I am in the process of making new brain teasers and a new brain teaser chart. That kind of got destroyed by the flood. So I'll work on that. But if you do finish your homework today, Freckle will be your only option. Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your day.